Hey everybody, this is Bhuvan and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a dynamic view in Cognos TM1 and do the ASCII output of the extracted data. Okay, so we basically have to start with the existing process. So I'm opening up this process and starting with my code in a prologue tab. I've already created a sample of code that I'm going to be presenting today, but I'll do one at a time. So let's start with this piece right here. Okay, in the first section of the code in a prologue tab, what I've done is I've defined variables for the cube, the view, and the subset that I'm going to be creating out of this process. And these are the dimensions that are in the cube, which I've defined variables as well for these dimensions. So now this piece of code right here, what it is going to do is it's going to check if the view already exists with that name. If the view already exists, so let's say that view equals 1, then it's going to destroy that view, right? And on the bottom, this piece of code right here is going to create a view within that cube. So for in price and cost cube, a view called ASCII output, you can name it the way you want it. Just to make it simple, I'm doing it ASCII output. So this is going to create a view called ASCII output. So after that, what I'm doing here is I'm running a loop, well, creating a loop, and in this loop I am getting the name of the dimension and running the loop for all the dimensions that are within a cube to create the lowest level of, to pick up the lowest level of element within that dimension. So let's just start with first dimension here. So what it is going to do within the loop, it's going to look at the version dimension, and there is another process being called here, which is syscreate level 0 subset. In this video, I'm not going to be covering how to create this level 0 subset process. I'm going to cover that in the next video. What this primarily do is it's going to create the lowest level element subset within the dimension, and there are different parameters that could be passed while creating a dimension, a subset. As of right now, for example, for the version dim, I'm creating a parameter called p scenario or p version, and I'm passing that over here. So whatever parameter I'm going to be passing while running a process, even though it was budget version 1, depending upon whatever other versions are available within your dimension, you can pass and run the process for that version, right? So this piece of code right here is going to call a process called syscreate level 0 subset and then create a subset to the lowest level. And I can pretty much copy the rest of the code as it is. So I'm repeating the same thing as I did here in the first piece of code. So I'm passing a different dimension called channel dimension here, and again it's going to create a leaf level element subset on the channel dimension, because that has been controlled by this sub process and no parameters have been passed, so it's going to include all the leaf level element of that channel dimension, and it's going to do that for the product dim, same with the month dim, and whatever is remained here is going to be taken care of by this else section of the code. So as of right now, the measure dimension I have not included within that is this right here, price and cost measure. So price and cost measure dimension subset creation is going to be handled by this else section of the code. I could have included, I just wanted to make sure that there are different options you can do. So the statement is ending here, and once the view is created, this section of the code right here is going to assign the view to the cube, and it's going to run this loop for the as many dimensions as there are within that cube, and the statement ends here. These three statements right here, or functions you want to call, the first one is going to skip the calculated values within a view and rule calculated values, and skip 0 set values equals 1. So this way a view is created. Just to make sure that the view is created, I'm going to comment this part of the code here and run this to see if indeed view is created or a subset is created. I would rather want to call a different name than that is existing right now. I'm gonna call it new, and I'm gonna call it new. Okay, line number 7, let's see what's happening here. What is missing? Line number 7. Oh, okay. Because there is no quote, single quote after the name, and hopefully it is there for the first one. Let's make that caps as well. So let's go and check on price and cost cube if we have a view called ASCII output and a subset called ASCII output new. So for that, price and cost cube, this is the cube right here, right? The first thing is going to check ASCII output view, but there is no ASCII output new. So as of right now, there is no view with that name, right? And let's go to the dimension and see if the subset exists. No, it's a ASCII output, it's the different subset. This is a different subset. So ASCII output new doesn't exist. So as of right now, the subset and a view that we have defined in our code in this process are not there. So let's go ahead and run this process to see what it does first off, and I'm passing budget version 1 as of right now. Okay, process completed successfully. Okay, we haven't done anything on a metadata tab and a data tab. We are only doing something on a prolog tab, and this should have created a subset and a view. Let's go and see price and cost. Let's go to view. Okay, there it is. So that's the view that we just created, and let's go to the dimension and see if the subsets are created. Well, primarily that's the first thing that you would like to do before moving to prolog tab, sorry, the metadata tab and a data tab, because you just want to make sure that your view is created as expected and your subsets are created as expected before you could do metadata manipulation or anything on the data tab. Okay, so ASCII output new. Good. So far so good. A view is created and all the subsets are created as expected, right? So we're good to go. Now we just have to go back and do some tweak on the data tab, and I'm not doing any metadata manipulation as of right now. Some of the things that you could do is, if there are missing dimension element for certain items, then roll up undefined could be done here. Hierarchy manipulation can happen here, but as of right now we're not doing anything of that sort, so metadata tab is empty. I'm going to leave that the way it is, and let's go to the data tab. So in a data tab, what I've done is I have customized the V product to pick up only camping equipment. So in my product dim, I just wanted to include camping equipment but nothing else, right? So let's go to a second line of code. The cell get information is going to get extract information from within the cube, and this is the format of syntax that you basically have to define. It has to be the cube name and all the dimension name as it appears in your cube, in the same sequence as it appears in your cube. You must follow that rule. So vcube is the name of the cube, price and cost as we have defined in the prologue tab, and all these channels, product, month, version, price and cost measure variables, we have renamed it over here. You could have kept it the way it is, but I just feel like renaming it as v channel, v product and all that. And the next important thing that you have to make sure is, if you want to do define your own logic and do a metadata metadata manipulation and all that, you have to change the content to others. If you're not using wizard driven consolidation and you're defining your code, the recommended method is to do others, not attribute data consolidation or element. That way you have a control over what you define and what you do. Okay, so this piece of information right here is extracting information from the cube based on the parameters we define, like camping equipment and budget version 1 and all that, right? Okay, if I was to load this piece of data to a different section of this cube, instead of budget version 1, I could have loaded it to budget version 2, 3 by doing cell put the information that I got from here, which is going to be v value and all these different dimensions. But I am not going to do that in this video. I'm only going to do the extraction of this data. So I've defined another piece of code which is to basically ASCII output the data that I have just created in my dynamic view, and I've defined a path as in my E drive. I have included all these variables. I could have included the cube name, but I know it's the cube that I'm working on, so I don't need to define the name of the cube. But if you want to be sure that this is the cube, you can go ahead and define vcube here to make sure that you are extracting the data off of the vcube. Okay, so I will go ahead and run this process again. Budget version 1. Okay, process completed successfully. So let's go ahead and check to see if it actually okay, budget version 1. So here we have for camping equipment, department store, February, budget version 1, unit cost, hold count, and whatever the value is. So this piece of information, you can share it with your users. You can load it to a different system altogether. Sometimes especially end of the month, when you create a variance, and that variance has to be extracted and then basically send it to the accounting so that they can do the month end adjustment with the variance. So here we go. This is the end of the lesson as of today. Hope you guys enjoy this, and then I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.